Social media. We hate it, we love it, and then we hate it again. It's like the latest circle of life. And something that's always fascinated me, our either obsessive attitude to it or more cold turkey approach. But I was going through my journal the other day and how I had made an interesting connection. This video will be in 3 parts and it's chatty and unscripted, so maybe get a drink and get comfortable. Reality versus social media. And I don't even mean filters. The entire trigger of this video was, so I was in this bus about 2 years ago. I remember reading something online. I can't remember what it was. And then I looked up and just looked around the people in the bus, and it just felt like such a disconnect. I felt like if you asked the people on the streets randomly what their opinion was about whatever the hot debate was that particular day, it would have been worlds apart. And I think that was the first time I realized that social media wasn't reality, and not just in terms of fake lives, but on a much more deeper level where it seems like everyone is on the same page and we all agree on human rights, or we all have the same political views. We're making progress. And it just made me realize that it felt like the average person on the street wasn't really getting the memo. And so this brings the question of the echo chamber. There's always the question of, do I only follow people that share the same views as I do, so that I don't always have to feel triggered when somebody else is anti whatever I am? Or do I open up myself to see other people's views and run the risk of being triggered every 5 seconds? I don't think it's healthy to only surround yourself with people that agree with you, but it also has to be toxic to have so many people that disagree with you and you're constantly getting in fights with people on the internet. You know, it would feel like there was a general consensus about what the appropriate response or reaction to a thing would be. And then I'd look at the people around me in, say, a public place or a public setting, and it would be like I was in a totally different planet. And I know we all know this. You know, we know that the reality on the internet is warped. Even if we just know this on like a superficial level, I fell into this trap of what we would call counter transference or a very weird version of it. Because tell me why I would see someone being praised for doing something great or doing some amazing work, and I would be excited, but then my immediate next thought would be, oh, I hope they're not a terrible person who is going to come out in the next 5 years and we'll find out that they were or they were into fraud. And it just made it hard to believe in good people, constantly being shown this kind of stories. And those are the things that tend to trend. Aesthetic infographics versus actually doing the work. It became a thing where there were a lot of this fancy, beautifully crafted Canva infographics on what was going on. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with something being aesthetic and functional. But if it's only one of those things, the former of those things to be specific, then I think that's problematic. And honestly, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, because I love a good pastel infographic or a beautiful sunset as much as the next person. But my point is, I hope that we are doing the work, whatever it is that you repost or share. I hope that we are actually involved in some capacity or in some way. And I'm not going to downplay that sharing is important. Sometimes you just need to create awareness, but I'm just trying to be more mindful and be more thoughtful of it. So this is the hack that I'm currently using, not giving myself permission to share or maybe repost a GoFundMe page if I personally haven't donated. I don't allow myself repost or share them except I've done something. And this really helps because I really want to repost it, and I really want to share, and I really want to create awareness for that thing. And so it just kind of forces me to make sure that I'm actually actively doing something when I can, and when I know that I can do more than just repost. And of course, some people just don't have the means, and really what they feel they can do to contribute is just to amplify voices, which is good enough. But I think that we all know ourselves better, and we know if there could be something extra or more that we could do. So the third part of this video is the over-cuddled mind. And this came about because I wrote somewhere in my journal that I wondered if it was my generation that couldn't take a joke, or people were really just tripping. I came across this seemingly neutral tweet, and it wasn't until I saw the comments that I began to have a rethink. It's just so much hate in the comments. It can then feed into mob mentality, which is something that has long been existent, and it's just that now you get to do it at your house with just a click on your phone. And the thing about the echo chamber is that the mysterious algorithms of these platforms also feed into that, because you check out one thing and before you know it, you're constantly being fed with that same thing, which is supposed to be a good thing in a way, because it means these are your interests, but it doesn't take into account the fact that you might like other things. You're not only interested in makeup, but then it's going to keep showing you that one thing. And this is personally why I really love newsletters, and I recently started my own, because it makes me feel like I can be free of the shackles of the algorithm. Anyway, I hope this video doesn't come across as me crapping on social media. I generally don't believe that inanimate objects are inherently good or bad. I think that you need to possess a soul to have a moral compass. Responsibility is on the soul owner to confer morality to objects. The same way a knife could be used to harm someone, but it could also be used to make a delicious, loving meal. More mindful way of using social media. It's kind of here to stay, at least for now. It's so woven into our culture now. This was a sounding board session. I'm sorry if my thoughts were kind of all over the place. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you there.